There is a crop buried beneath our feet that breaks every rule. Modern farming depends on a plant that yields more than potatoes, survives cold that kills wheat, and once you plant it, it returns every year without asking for permission. For thousands of years, it was the ultimate insurance against famine, a quiet guardian of entire civilizations. Yet today, almost no one even remembers its name. This is the story of a forgotten perennial that outlived empires, saved explorers, kept families alive through wars, and grew wild long after humans abandoned it. A root erased not because it failed, but because it succeeded too independent to patent, too resilient to control, too generous to profit from. As climate change reshapes our world, this lost survivor may be the key to the future we're about to face. Welcome to the tale of the sunroot, the crop that refuses to die. Welcome to Green Answers family. I hope you are doing well. So let's start video. Imagine a plant that defies every rule of modern agriculture. A crop that produces more food per acre than potatoes, withstands freezes that would kill wheat, and once you plant it, it comes back forever. It's a plant that has silently watched empires rise and fall, a secret survivor hidden just beneath our feet. For millennia, it was a guarantee against starvation. During Europe's darkest hours, it was the food of last resort. It fed nations through 2 world wars when all other crops failed. But then, it vanished from our tables, erased from our history, not because it was weak, but because it was too strong, too independent, too difficult to control and turn into our corporate commodity. This is the untold story of the forgotten crop that outlived civilizations, the sunroot. Deep in the earth, a network of energy waits. It is Helianthus tuberosus, known to men as the Central or Jerusalem artichoke. Though it has no more connection to Jerusalem, its true origin story begins in North America, woven into the fabric of indigenous cultures long before the first European ships arrived. For countless generations, Native American tribes cultivated these knobby tubers. They weren't just a source of food, they were a living insurance policy. They understood its resilience. When the corn harvest failed or the bison herds moved on, the sunroot was always there, a reliable source of life-sustaining energy, waiting patiently underground. It was a symbol of abundance, a gift from the earth that asked for little and gave but everything. In the Elysary Bunamratus as the French explorer Samuel de Champlain was navigating the rugged coasts of what is now New England. Sir, in a native garden, he encountered it for the first time. He described its taste as being like an artichoke, and sent it back to France, where it was celebrated as a culinary marvel. The Europeans, fascinated by this exotic vegetable from the New World, gave it a new name, topinambur, after a Brazilian tribe who happened to be visiting Paris at the same time. The name stuck, and the sunroot began its journey across a continent that would soon desperately need it. 2 centuries later, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark were on their monumental expedition across the American West. Winter was closing in, their supplies were dangerously low, and their team was on the brink of starvation. Just as their journey seemed doomed, they were saved. Not by a lucky hunt, but by a gift from a Lakota woman, a bag of strange, lumpy roots. It was the sunroot. This humble tuber provided the nourishment and energy they needed to survive the harsh winter and complete their historic mission. It was another moment where this quiet survivor stepped out of the shadows to alter the course of history, then slipped back into obscurity. Across the Atlantic, Europe was island of recurring famines. The potato, another New World import, had become a dietary staple, but it was vulnerable. When blight struck Ireland, it led to catastrophe. In these times of desperation, the sunroot became a lifeline. It thrived in poor soil where potatoes rotted. It grew with such vigor that it could feed a starving village from just a small patch. During the First World War, when farm labor was scarce and supply lines were short, the sunroot patches planted generations before kept producing. Again, in World War II, as bombs fell and fields were destroyed, people turned to this resilient crop. They called it the wartime potato, a food of survival, not of choice. But its fairy success became its downfall. After the wars, a strange collective amnesia set in. The sunroot was no longer seen as a savior. It was a painful reminder of hardship, poverty, and desperation. People wanted to forget the taste of war, and the sunroot was on the menu. A deep-seated resentment grew towards this food that had kept them alive. It was peasant food, survival food. As nations rebuilt and prosperity returned, the sunroot was cast aside, banished from the kitchen and the farm, replaced by the clean, uniform, and more predictable potato. The knives of industrial agriculture sealed its fate. Modern farming is built on control, uniformity, and profit. It demands crops that can be mechanically harvested, easily stored, and shipped across the globe without spoiling. The sandroot fit none of these criteria. Its tubers are irregular and knobby, a nightmare for automated peelers and processing machines. They have thin skins and do and store well for long periods in the same way a potato does. But its greatest sin, in the eyes of industry, was its refusal to be tamed. The sandroot is a perennial. Plant it once, and it establishes a permanent colony. It spreads on its own terms. You can't patent it, you can't sell it seeds year after year, and you can't easily confine it to neat, predictable rows. It was simply too wild, too free, to fit into the corporate model of food production. It was forgotten because it could not be owned. Today, science is rediscovering what ancient cultures always knew. The sandroot is a nutritional powerhouse. Unlike potatoes, which store energy as starch, the sandroot stores it as inulin, a prebiotic fiber. Inulin doesn't cause a spike in blood sugar, making it an incredible food for metabolic health. It feeds the beneficial bacteria in our gut, acting as a powerful ally for our microbiome, which we now know is central to our overall well-being. It's a food that actively heals our bodies from the inside out, and its healing power extends to the earth itself. The sandroot is a master of regeneration. Its deep roots bake up compacted soil, improving its structure and water absorption. As a member of the sunflower family, it's a dynamic accumulator, drawing up minerals from deep within the earth and making them available in the topsoil. It requires no more tilling, which prevents soil erosion and protects the delicate web of life underground. It's a plant that builds soil fertility rather than depleting it. It thrives in drought conditions that would decimate corn and wheat. Its tubers safely storing moisture and energy underground, waiting for the right moment to grow. As we face our future of climate uncertainty, with our major food systems looking increasingly fragile, the sandroot is waiting. It's a living blueprint for a different kind of agriculture, one based on permanence, resilience, and cooperation with nature, not domination over it. It challenges our entire definition of what a crop should be. It asks us to look beyond a system that values short-term profit and control over long-term stability and health. The sandroot is a metaphor for a different path forward, a reminder that true security doesn't come from conquering nature, but from understanding its resilient and generous systems. For thousands of years, this plant has been a silent witness, a survivor, a savior. It has been celebrated, forgotten, and even despised, but it has never disappeared. It waits patiently in abandoned gardens, along river banks, and in the wild places, thriving where we have stopped looking. Its story is a profound lesson. It teaches us that the solutions we need for a healthier future might not be found in a laboratory, but are already present, hidden in the forgotten wisdom of the past. The greatest treasures are often the ones we've thrown away. Abundance was always beneath our feet. We just forgot how to look. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please share it, and let's work together to protect the forgotten crops that hold the keys to our future.